Hello, everyone. I am trying something a little new today. I am using the creative option on Twitch, and I'm going to be working on Bleach Abridged a little bit. I thought maybe some way to add a little streaming time in while the microphone was out for repairs might be to, give, and maybe people are curious, get a little insight about what goes on behind the scenes. Probably not too many people, but we'll see. I actually have because this is audio work, I have my full headphones on, and I can't hear myself very well, so it sounds a little weird me speaking. But I'm probably not going to be doing a whole ton of that anyway. It's going to be it's going to be a fairly quiet one. Also, the actual audio will probably be fairly loud, so you've been warned. This was this was recorded on the Snowball in my sound booth. I'm going to be working on some of Ichigo's lines. I'm still pretty early on in the episode 3 editing process. I have to go through all the voice lines, pick out the ones that are going to be used in the episode out of the several takes, and that's stage 1. After I get through all of the voice audio, then I'll be moving on to actually putting the episode together in Premiere and then later After Effects. And I've already done most of the episode 3 Ichigo audio. I have about half an hour of recording left. So as you can tell, these sessions take quite a while. We have several takes of each line. And the three of us, me, Jack, and Washuku Otaku, are Ichigo, like to have some fun with it. So you're going to hear some background audio that the mic doesn't pick up too well because it's not really supposed to, but it's cranked up, so you should be able to pick up on some of it in the background. And where I'm at right now, I think we just asked Otaku to get some effects, we've already got a variety of effects for the episode, which are just, grunts, noises, sword swings, hits, things like that. And we wanted, because this episode in particular has a lot of fighting, it actually has several fights in it, we wanted to get a good variety, especially since I've had to reuse several of them between episodes 1 and 2, and I want to avoid that as much as possible.
Ha! Here! Ha! 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 Yeah! Okay. Okay. Do you want them all to be kind of short, or a few that are a little bit on the long side? Just kind of whatever? Okay.
Alright, I hear a breath in there, so I want to try and get that out. Or get as much of it out as possible. I want it to sound like a clean opening. And I could zoom in a little more to make this easier. I think that's a good starting point. As far as effects go, I'm not gonna save them all individually. I'm gonna bunch them all together, and I'll have a file of all of the similar effects. This is going to be a potpourri file, because that's really all I'm asking him to do at this point, is to get some a big variety of effects all at once. So I've got separate files for, grunts, sword swings, things like that. And this will just be the everything. If I need something that's not in one of the other files, then I'll go to this one.
Don't! Sorry, just throw that one out there.
Okay, we're probably not going to use that one, but I'll keep it in just in case.
Sorry, I just.
Alright, you might have heard I left a breath in there. I'm not going to get too worried about it at this point. I'm not going to be editing all of them because I don't know that I'll be using all of them. If it, I do the editing here and now when it comes to the actual voice lines, but for effects, I'll see where I have use for them first. Once I'm looking at the footage and I know which one I'm going to use, then I'll do the editing on that one for the spot if need be. Get some grazing hits. You'll see I have two audio tracks here. It's because at the end of a recording session, these files have several audio tracks because we stop and save, obviously. So ends up with usually 6 or 7 depending on the length of the recording and how much lines we have to record.
You mean like that kind of thing? Okay.
Okay. Rule 1, save often. I'll cut me out because we don't need me in there. Try to make the length more bearable when I have to come back and look at this later.
Alright.
Okay. So it sounds like that's the end of the effects for now. I am going to save this whole batch. Selection. And I'll just make those the Ichigo effects extra. And since this is the working version of the file,
Alright.
I'll cut all that out.
Okay. About how long do you want me to run? Okay. Alright, let me know when you're ready.
Alright. And then another important point for background. Good game, says Bowser Slave. Thank you for joining me. It's not going to be a very exciting stream. For the time being, I'll probably go into something a little later. I've been wanting to play some F-Zero GX, so maybe I'll see if I can try and get the GameCube booted up. Boot up the GameCube. Or haven't done Spelunky in a while. I'm on the fence, so for the time being, I'm doing some Bleach Abridged work on the audio.
Okay. chicken hook.
Now it sounds like he was just masturbating.
No, that's more along the lines of ah.
Oh God!
That would be the worst time for Rookie to open up the closet door.
Alright, let's get a couple more of the 2-second running.
Okay.
We like to have fun while recording. As you can hear in this session, Jack was also present. I'm going to get the 3/4 running bits we got together, because I'll call those the same as effects, and I'll see which one I want to use later on when I am looking at the footage. Oh, get them all together. Maybe a little faster pace than that.
Okay.
And then just kind of a, jumping off sound. Alright, that's good. Alright, is that all? Alright, that's good. Very male work. Like, I'm remembering. I was thinking Young Link.
Actually, what's really funny is for a moment I was thinking about going ding. You know, old school Super Mario Bros.
From what?
Old school Super Mario.
Oh, right, yeah. Alright. Okay, so that's all we need for the effects. That'll be the running and the jump sound effects. There are some actual lines in here as well. This was a scene that we wanted to get the effects all done at one time so we didn't have to worry about them later on. If I sound a little weird, it's because I might be having a little trouble projecting. I can't actually hear myself with my ears both wearing, soundproof headphones. Okay, and that will be Ichigo running. And see, if I were drawing or something, then I could play, music in the background, but because this is audio work, I kind of don't have that option. I have to, pay very close attention to the sound files.
Think about going ding. Old school Super Mario Bros.
From what?
Old school Super Mario.
Oh, right, yeah. I was thinking of also of, boing. from the X sign. Let's go on a dungeon adventure.
That's not what I was thinking you were referring to.
What were you thinking of?
Deadpool.
Oh, okay.
The video
Same
game. Only when he's on the bouncy house. You go boing. All three of the voices will take turns, and every now and then you hear the actual main one go banana.
We gotta see movies together. You got similar tastes in movies.
Have you seen Deadpool?
Yes, I have.
Oh god, I saw it twice in the first weekend.
I didn't see movies once because I don't like to burn myself out on movies.
Well, the only reason that I really did the second time was because I found out that a bunch of my friends were going to see it on that particular day, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna go to it again.
Alright, well, let's continue.
Okay, back to actual lines. And now they're, again, taken straight from the show. They're, for some reason, spontaneous. As you can see, we get somewhat distracted while recording. I do my best to keep things on track, but that does lengthen the length of the editing process by a margin.
Yeah, it's so fucking weird. They're apparently communicating. Their mouths aren't moving. It's fucking bizarre.
So despite being running, this isn't like an exerted sound to their voices.
Okay. How can you tell? And wait, Soul Pager. Is that seriously what you call it? suddenly tell blokes.
So am I supposed to sound completely baffled in both of these lines?
No, just the first one is just more inquisitory. The second one is more like, are you fucking serious?
Okay.
Soul figure. Has a radius of 2 spirit miles. Oh, alright, 1 second.
I'm trying to avoid spots that are too sensitive to stuff that might be coming up in the show.
Gained a half hour.
Okay.
Okay. How can you tell?
Okay.
Now, granted, I could just skip around to
How
the actual, visibly obvious lines, but oh, that's no fun. We got to hear the antics that happened in the middle.
How can you tell?
Okay, that one was a bit slurred. Let's see if there's a better take here.
How can you tell? How can you tell?
We don't always get the perfect delivery of a line. Sometimes I'll have to make do, but usually when the whole show comes together, it's not too noticeable as long as we get. That's why we get a variety with every session. We want at least a few takes of every line.
Sounds a little Valley Girl there.
How can you tell? That's so weird.
More lower kind of. How can you tell?
How can you tell?
Okay, that one sounded a bit better,
How can
but I'm hearing some crackling going on
how can you
at the start of it.
how can you tell?
I might have to do some, if I do use that one, I'll have to do some editing to it.
Oh,
I don't think I'm gonna. That one was I think a joke one, so I'm not gonna bother keeping it. These recordings are done on a blue snowball microphone with pop filter, not a terrific pop filter though. So I often have to do a fair amount of editing on the voice clips. I've already run these through noise removal, so any background noise, static that the microphone might pick up should have been taken care of for the most part, but I still have to keep a very close ear on what might be in there to make them sound as professional as possible.
Without the inflection on how, I think is the problem right now.
how can you tell?
There's a little click there.
How can you tell?
It's a little tongue click.
Okay.
That was good.
Okay. How can you tell?
Okay, we got a lot of takes of this line.
How
We don't usually get quite this many, but that's okay. It's better to have too many than too few.
how can you tell?
No, that's not a...
How can you tell?
I know that delivery is not going to fit the context of the line.
Try kind of lower, just in general.
How can you tell? How can you tell?
Yeah, that'll do.
Okay.
All right, and then I finally call it. That's enough. see which of these I'll be able to actually use.
How can you tell?
Slur.
How can you tell?
Still slurring.
How can you tell?
Okay, that one was clear. But I wonder about the delivery a little bit.
How can you tell? How can you tell?
There's crackling on that one.
How can you tell? 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 How can you tell?
That last one might be the one. That sounded pretty good. I'm going to have to
How can you tell?
do a direct comparison, I think. Alright, I think it's between these two.
How can you tell? How can you tell?
There's kind of a uvular sound I hear on this one.
How can you tell? How can you tell?
Might have to do a little bit of editing there.
How can you tell?
Okay, I'd better open up the script for self-reference.
How can you tell? 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 How can you tell?
I'm leaning towards the second one, I'm thinking.
How can you tell? How can you tell?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go with the second one. Alright. Depending on... I think that line was more finicky than others. I don't necessarily spend that long on all of them.
How can you tell?
Certainly not. Nothing would ever get done. But, I think this one I wanted to be a little more anal about than normal. Let's say amplify it by 7.5. Let's see how that is.
How can you tell? How can you tell? How can...
There's a little bit of a, like a smacking in the background of how, I think.
How can you tell?
I don't know that I can rightly get rid of that. I might be able to make it a little less obvious with a fade in.
How can you tell?
Sounds a little better.
How can you tell? How can you tell? How can you tell?
Pop? What's that? It's an interesting noise.
How can you tell?
I think it sounds okay without the pop. Maybe I'll just cut it a little bit shorter and do a fade out.
How can you tell? How can you tell?
Alright, that sounds pretty clean. I think I'll be able to... I'll make that the one that I can use. Okay, let me check what number line that is. Oh, it's been a while since Ichigo had any lines. Okay. It's going to be line 56, Ichigo. Most episodes come out to, want to say, about 100 to 150. 120 is a good average, I think. I think that's about how many episode 2 had. So it depends on the length, of course, and how much of it is dialogue and how much of it is action. And I do include a lot of the effects in those when I know one is scheduled to be coming.
Okay.
Okay, and then let's try this one all in one take, like the whole three sentences, and if that turns out to be an issue, we can split it up.
Okay. Wait.
Okay. The microphone actually broke down in the middle of me recording my own lines for the episode. So I have everyone else's, but I'm still waiting for the microphone to come back before I can actually get mine done. So I don't have all of the audio recorded yet, but there's plenty for me to work with for quite a while. Depending this, I want to say on average for the last two episodes, this process of going through all of the audio for the episode takes 3 to 4 weeks. So it's not a fast one, but there's no real way that I can delegate it out, unfortunately.
Wait, Soul Pager? Is that seriously what you call it? And how are we suddenly telepathic?
A lot of pops there.
Try doing that line more. You gotta be fucking kidding me.
Exasperated.
Okay. Wait, Soul Pager? Is that seriously what you call it? And how are we suddenly telepathic?
It's a very angry Ichigo.
Wait.
That's okay. I don't think too many people are going to see this video.
Telepathic.
Okay, let's get all the takes in one smaller spot so that I can
And how...
listen to them all later.
Riled up, which is one way to do it. He still sounds riled up, which is one way to do it. I'm just
Okay.
thinking kind of more cynical, like exasperated. Wait, Soul Pager, is that seriously what you call it?
Kind of like regarding to a child who refers to a potato as a...
I guess.
Yes, sorry, fatherly stuff.
Experience?
A little bit. Wait. Wait.
Okay, that was I think that was a pop there.
That was a...
Crap.
Kind of like... Pathic.
He's still
Give myself a little more space there.
Wait, Soul Pager? Is that seriously what you call it? And how are we suddenly telepathic?
try one more time.
Okay. Wait, Soul Pager? Is that seriously what you call it? And how are we suddenly telepathic? Okay.
That was a good telepathic. It didn't have the pop in it like the previous ones did. For long lines like these, I will fairly frequently mix and match them, depending on if maybe there's a part that works well from this one and a part that works well from the other one.
Wait, Soul Pager? Wait, Soul Pager?
A little too angry on that one, I think.
Wait, Soul Pager? Wait, Soul Pager?
I think I like the pager on this one, but not the weight. The weight has a pop in it that I want to avoid.
Wait, Soul Pager? Wait, Soul Pager?
So I might grab one of the weights from the other ones.
Wait. Wait.
That one's too angry. I think the next one is another angry one.
Wait. Wait.
Or it has another pop in it.
soul.
Alright, I'm just gonna
Soul pager?
copy this.
Soul.
And move it right over here. Okay, let's see how that sounds.
Wait, soul pager? Wait, soul pager?
Okay, that sounds good.
Is that seriously what you call it? Is that seriously what you call it?
I actually like that one.
Wait. Is that seriously what you call it? And how... Is that seriously what you call it?
Hello, Jack.
Hey, what are you working on?
I'm trying something new. I'm actually streaming creative, and I'm working on some of the Bleach Abridged audio.
That's
Not going to be for too long.
how was
There's a plate in the fridge.
thank you.
Is that seriously what you call it?
Which one?
The big one. The small one's a dessert plate.
This one was what?
The small one is a dessert plate.
Well, thank you for saving me some.
Yeah.
Wait, soul pager?
Went to a Memorial Day family get-together. Brought a plate back.
Is that seriously what you call it?
I think that one might be a little bit on the slow side.
Is that seriously what you call it?
I still think that's... Yeah, I'll go with that. I think that's the best
Soul pager?
delivery of the bunch. Let's see how it fits together with the first line.
Pager? Is that seriously what you call it? Wait, soul pager? Is that seriously what you call it?
I think there's a little bit of clicking there, but
Is that
I think I can get rid of that with a fade in.
Is that
I think the deliveries work well together, which is the important part. Let's see what a fade in does there.
Is that seriously what you call it?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Pager?
That's going to need one, too, to get rid of the small pop.
Soul pager? Soul pager?
We're going to have to be fairly precise with this one, though. Usually, if a pop is minor enough, it can be gotten rid of with a fade in.
Soul pager? Wait, soul pager? Wait, soul pager? Is that Wait, soul pager? Is that seriously what you call it?
Yeah, that sounds a lot better.
And how
I'm going to have to get rid of that breath, though.
are we suddenly telepathic?
Alright, that's going to be a pop-heavy line. I think the last one was the one without the pop. Let's see how that sounds delivery-wise.
And how are we suddenly telepathic? Is that seriously what you call it? And how are we suddenly telepathic?
Okay, both of those don't have too bad of pops on them.
And how are we suddenly telepathic?
I still might do a little bit of a fade in there.
And how are we suddenly telepathic?
See how that delivery works together. Crap. Just one little misclick, and it sets you back.
And how are we suddenly telepathic? And how are we...
I'll get rid of that breath later.
Wait, soul pager? Is that seriously what you call it? And how are we suddenly telepathic? Suddenly telepathic.
Gets a little bit nasally there, but
And how are we suddenly telepathic?
I think of the lines, that one will work best. Alright, I'm going to isolate the breath and get that out. Silence audio.
Bullet? And how are we suddenly bullet? And how are we
Just a little smackiness there. Let me see if a fade will reduce that.
and how are we and how are we and how are we
No, not really.
and how are we suddenly telepath and how are we suddenly telepath and how are we
I think it actually sounds better without the fade, because I can't tell exactly where the... Oh, there's the crackling. Maybe I can just silence that.
and how are we suddenly telepathic?
Okay, yeah, that sounds a lot better.
Pathic.
A lot of audio bugs can actually be gotten rid of fairly quickly with fade-ins and fade-outs. It's the more stubborn ones that create problems.
Suddenly telepathic. Suddenly telepathic.
I wonder if... I might cut out that hard C. Let's see how it sounds without.
And how are we suddenly telepathic?
I think that might be a little abrupt. Let's try a fade out. Because you can still tell what the word is on words that end with hard syllables if you cut them out entirely.
And how are we suddenly telepathic?
Okay, I think that's going to work. I might have not gotten the whole hard...
Pathic.
No, I didn't. I didn't get quite the whole thing. Gonna have to extend that out a little bit. So I'll look for the spot at which it's silent up here. And it looks like I found that. And let's fade out that whole spot there.
Telepathic. Telepathic.
Maybe a little more.
Pathic. Pathic.
Did I not get the whole thing?
Thick.
Could swear I did. Maybe I'll do a double fade out so it fades out faster.
Pathic. Pathic.
It still has a vague echo sound. I don't know where that's coming from. Okay, you know what? I am going to delete that. Quick fade out. Let's see how that sounds.
And how are we suddenly telepathic? And how are we suddenly telepathic? And how are we suddenly telepathic?
I think that'll work.
And how are we suddenly telepathic?
Yeah, that'll do fine. We'll get the timing right on these.
Wait, Soul Pager? Is that seriously what you call it? And how are we suddenly telepathic? Telepathic.
Alright, that ending might be a little abrupt. But I think that's the best we're going to get. Alright, line 58. The long ones like that often take a lot of editing.
Okay.
Dramatic reaction.
Dun, dun, dun.
So kind of a that's gonna be from Ichigo. Something along those lines.
Oh.
Like a gap, I guess.
You're talking about like When I say the line "it's her," I'm supposed to be doing kind of gaspy.
Okay, I guess that's a point where we decided to stop and save. So we have completed an audio track, and I am down to the last one for Ichigo.
Okay. That was really quiet.
I think a bit more vocal.
Yeah.
Oh, that was it was so quiet I didn't even tell he was doing something.
Can I have the dessert too, or?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
There's a lot of food though, so I wouldn't go too overboard.
I won't eat it all at once.
That was really quiet.
I think a bit more vocal.
Yeah.
Get more effects from Otaku. Jack is in the background, eating. Some space. There we go. Was a good reaction effect.
Yeah. Huh?
I don't know that it's like an intake kind of breath. Like it's,
Okay.
That's a very breathy sound.
Like that?
that's close, yeah.
Okay.
We can work with that.
It kind of seemed weird when I did it.
Imagine he's running up and then he suddenly stops and his eyes widen.
Huh?
I think that one might be a bit too withdrawn for the shot, but I'll hold on to it.
I don't know.
Try just saying,
Okay.
that's what we're
Okay.
And there are times when, you know, it takes a lot to communicate between the actors and the director what exactly is being gone for.
Okay.
This one I think I'll also treat like the effects, and I'll save as a whole batch file so that I can go through them later as need be. And I'll choose the one that seems to work best based on the actual footage when I'm looking at it.
Okay. It's her. It's her.
I'll probably can keep this for I'll make this about an hour stream. We're 45 minutes right now, and then I'll switch over to something else, whatever that may be.
It's her. Yay! It's her.
So this is kind of a behind the scenes of you get to see the editing process, what I, go through in Audacity before anything else happens, and also kind of behind the scenes of what goes on in the recording booth.
It's her. It's her.
Personal thing I want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Adding a slight delay between it and her.
Okay.
Her.
It's her.
That was a Jack suggestion. Don't know how fitting it'll be. We'll see how it. I guess we'll see when the footage comes around.
Personal
It's her. It's her. It's. It's. It's her.
I know. Hollow voices. Dangerous for basic. Victor laughs. Ichigo glares at Rukia. We don't need a sound for that.
Yeah.
And then Ichigo just, just angry bastard. Bastard!
Okay, so that's it for that line.
It's her. It's her.
I actually like that first delivery.
It's her. It's her. It's her. It's her. It's her. It's her. It's.
See how that sounds with a smaller gap. Make sure it's all silence. Again, looking up here when I do that.
It's her.
A little click there.
It's her. It's her. It's her. It's her. It's her.
I think I'm going to go with this one. I think this one seems to be the
It's her.
go-to. There's a little click that happens after that.
It's her. It's her.
That sounds clean though. And I'll amplify these up to be closer to one another, either in After Effects or just in Premiere or in After Effects, or just later on with the basic files as necessary. Right now, I'm just focused on getting the versions of the files that are going to suit the lines best, because you can see how long that alone takes. Okay, 1, 2. Okay. I have to count the lines manually. I don't have them labeled in the actual script. This is going to be line 67. So this is looking like it's going to be a lower line count episode, actually, if I'm this far into Ichigo's script and only at 67 lines. Wonder how much I have left lengthwise.
I know. Hollow voices. Dangerous for basic. Victor laughs.
I was kind of thinking something like bas- bastard.
Yeah, that's more what we're looking for. You're right.
It's a very breathy delivery. Okay, how long do we have left? Okay, still a little under 20 minutes, so I could, I'm not going to finish this today, but I've cut a big chunk out of it. There's not too much Ichigo left to do, I think. I'll get this line yet.
Bastard.
Yeah, that's more what we're looking for. You're right.
Okay. Bastard.
That one is popping, so I'll have, if I use that one, I'll have to do some editing to it.
Bastard. Bastard. Bastard.
One more.
Bastard. Alright.
I don't like most of those deliveries. I don't think they're going to work for the tone. I do a lot of the times when I'm with one of the actors outside the booth, I'll good or bad habit, I'll do like a general version of the line that I'm looking for to give them a better idea of exactly what we need, because when it comes to ADR dub over work, we don't really have the option of making the animation match the delivery of the line. We have to get the delivery that matches the existing animation. So that does limit the creative freedom a good bit.
Bastard.
I think that first one might have been the usable one.
Bastard. 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 Bastard.
One more.
Bastard. Bastard.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with the first one. It's the only one that seems to fit the tone.
Bastard.
That's going to, a very loud noise. I'm going to definitely have to do a fade in. How much of a fade in we'll see.
Bastard. 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 Bastard.
I wonder if I might take some of that consonant lasts a really long time. I may see how much of that I can take off entirely and see if it still sounds.
Bastard. Bastard.
Okay, I think that's losing too much of the consonant there. Make it a little more abrupt.
Bastard. 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 Bastard.
I think that sounds pretty good. I think that's going to be workable.
Bastard. Bastard.
I don't like that breathy ending though. See if I can get rid of some of that as well.
Bastard. Bastard. Bastard.
Looks like that whole last chunk of the recording is just the breath.
Bastard.
I'm losing the D now though.
Bastard. Bastard.
There's a little bit of D left. Gotta find the right balance of how much D I want to have. I don't want too big a D. I don't want too small a D. I want just the right size D.
Bastard. Bastard.
I think we got our D.
Bastard.
That's a good D. We'll use that D. Okay. Okay, another 7. Line 74, Ichigo. Lots of dialogue in the Grand Fisher episode.
Bastard. Bastard!
It's kind of sounding like the guy he's calling a bastard.
Bastard! Alright.
Cut to dead mother, da da da, and then angry lunge. Oh, well, I guess that he lunges while he's shouting, "You bastard!"
Okay.
Oh, that's going to get loud if I play it.
You.
So I'll actually... I think I got it down to I took a big chunk out of it today. I'm actually going to stop for now. We're at about an hour. So I will save this. And got a good bit of audio work on episode 3 done today. I still have Rukia's the other big character with many lines to go through. And obviously my lines, the Grand Fisher is going to have a lot to go through because he's such a big part of the episode. So there's still a good amount of audio work to do before the actual video editing together happens. I may do another short stream on that when it happens, depending. I don't want to give too much away of the episode, but I don't think too many people watch these streams anyway, so I don't think it'll be the end of the world. But I could always save their release for after the episode's done as well. But I think I'm going to call it for now, and I am actually going to see if I can boot up the GameCube and get that to stream on the Elgato. So I will be back momentarily, hopefully with F-Zero. If I cannot get that running, then maybe I'll do some Spelunky or something. We'll see. And I will be back in, let's say, 5-10 minutes. Hang around.